if you are not willing to work on yourself, no one can help you. But if you're willing to work on yourself, no one can stop you. And that love, hope, and inspiration, they're like perfumes. You can't sprinkle on others without getting a few drops on yourself.
Hey guys, today we have a legendary guest with us. He's none other than Les Brown. Les Brown is named as one of the top 5 outstanding motivational speakers in the world by Toastmasters International. Les received National Speakers Association's most prestigious award, the Golden Gavel. Les is also a best-selling author, radio DJ, former television host, and former politician. But more importantly, Les Brown is a person who have made major contribution to humanity by teaching people to follow their dreams while living a heart-centered life. Over the course of his incredible career, he went from being labeled mentally retarded and working menial jobs to inspiring audiences of up to 80,000 people at a time, and also being featured by Success Magazine, NBC, Washington Post, etc. I feel very, very honored to invite Les Brown to the show. Thanks, Les, for coming to the show.
Thank you so much. I just feel honored to be here with you. And I just want to just recognize you for your contribution to interview people that's bringing messages that will allow people to have hope in a very challenging time in our history. So thank you for the work that you're doing. You're a bright light in sometimes what appears to be a dark world.
That's so kind of you, Les. Thank you so much. Les, before we go into the questions, can you share where can people connect with you?
Yes, they can connect with me at lesbrown.com. Lesbrown.com. What I'm doing now is teaching people how to use their story to make a difference and transform an audience individually and collectively by using their story or their knowledge or the skills or things that they've observed in life or things that they've gotten past. And people going there will see a course that I'm now teaching, this online course, helping people to discover their power voice. So they will find that at lesbrown.com.
Thank you so much, Les.
I'm 77 now, so I've been told by TD Jakes there's no success without successors. So I'm looking for people who want to be a part of my legacy and be able to be a messenger of hope as well as how to monetize their story.
Awesome, Les. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
Les, you say that most of us die like copies. What do you mean by that?
Most of us have come up in cultures that determine how we see ourselves. A gentleman by the name of Martin Silliman, he wrote a book called Learned Optimism. And in that book, he said between the ages of 0 and 7, because of our environment, because of our culture, because of things that we see, things that we hear, we determine what's possible for us. And as a result, we begin to duplicate the mindset and the behavior and the choices of the culture that we're in. So when we look at today, why it's said that many people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65 is because as opposed to being educated and taught how to be creative and teaching people how to become critical thinkers, we've been told what to think, and we have this limited vision of what's possible for us. So what I do and what you do is help people to get a larger vision of themselves beyond their circumstances and things that they've been told about themselves and begin to live out of their imagination as opposed to their history or their environment. Einstein said the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. So, what we do is expand people's visions of themselves.
Thanks, Les. Les, how to discover what we are supposed to do in this world?
We have to take some time for self awareness. I believe that most people don't know who they are. It took me some time to discover who I am. And that's a major problem and challenge in life and opportunity. At the beginning of the year, people talk about New Year's resolutions. I like to talk about New Year's evolution.
Wow.
What is it that you want out of life, and how must you evolve in order to become the kind of person that can achieve those things? Because you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. And so most people don't realize that you have to really be willing to work on yourself, to spend some time reading 30 to 40 pages a day on self development, listening to motivational messages. That's how I was able to overcome the label of being educable, mentally retarded, and put back from the fifth grade to the fourth grade, born in poverty in a poor section of Miami, Florida, failing again in the eighth grade when I went to high school and no college training. That this high school teacher told me, young man, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Up to that point, I failed every year in school and went to summer school. But he interrupted my thinking, and this is what I do when I train people one on one or in small groups how to use their story and their communication skills to transform an audience or an individual or a large number of people and create an experience with your story and how you deliver it so that you can take them on a journey in themselves that they can't go by themselves. And that has impacted my life. And I said, I want to pass this on to other people.
Yes, Les. Les, as you said before, you were declared as EMR, educable, mentally retarded in the school, right? So, like this, many people have one or other labels. How can they break away from them?
Well, one, you have to begin to realize that what people think about you is none of your business. It's what you think about yourself. I think that's why uh, Shakespeare said the fault of Brutus is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings, that we hold ourselves back. What I'm doing, I could have been doing it 14 years longer, but I convinced myself I couldn't do it because I don't have a college education and I never worked for major corporations. And so I told myself, being practical, logical, and realistic, that I did not have the ability to have the credibility to be hired by AT&T, Procter& and Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, General Electric, that these corporations hired me. 14 years of denying myself, I finally said yes to my dreams and worked on becoming the kind of person that could develop the credibility and the skill set that will allow them to see me doing what I do and say, hey, he's got something of value that can motivate and inspire our workforce. So, this is what they call the attention economy. Whatever you do, you want to become so good at it that you cannot be ignored and people will pay you for it.
Yes. Les, what is the difference between eyesight and mindsight?
Eyesight is what you see, judging according to appearances. Mindsight is your imagination. My favorite book says, I'll give you all your eyes can see. Your imagination can take you into the future. Your imagination, everything happens there first. All accomplishments first happen in the imagination. We imagine something, and then we put in the work for the manifestation of that. But most people judge things just upon the the appearance of what they see. We have the ability to transform what we see. Life is it's sometimes things go well and sometimes things don't go so well. It's like a roller coaster. Sometimes you up and sometimes you're down. And so we have to, in my opinion, live our lives on the edge of our comfort zone. That's where your growth starts. And envision ourselves beyond our culture, beyond our circumstances, beyond the situation that we're in or the things that we've experienced, and work on ourselves continuously to create the next greatest version of ourselves.
Awesome, Les. Les, I want to ask this question particularly at this point. How to manifest our greatness?
You manifest your greatness by finding something that's you. I believe that all of us, that you and I are unrepeatable miracles, that we were made in the likeness and image of God, that we were chosen one out of 400 million sperm, and that we were deployed to come to the planet to make it a better place than how we found it. I believe that we are the embodiment of gifts and talents and skills and knowledge that we are unaware of. And through self exploration and self reflection and work and effort, we can begin to develop those skills and talents through getting still and spending time with ourselves and spending time around people that we can learn from, that we can grow from. Part of what I teach people is practice OQP, only quality people. Put yourself in an environment with people with goals and dreams, people that are going in the direction of where you're going. We earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of our closest friends. Now, when I found that out, I got all my broke friends out of my life because at that time I was so broke I could walk by a bank and trip the alarm.
We love your smile, Les. That's your trademark. Uh,
Thank
Les, why necessity is not the mother of invention?
No, what's the mother of invention is refusing to accept things as they are, where you get to a point where you say, this is not me. In the United States, they told millions of employees you can work from home. And the prediction was that when they were told they can come back, only 15% would not come back. But
Uh,
a shocking number of over 35% said, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do something that's me. And so people now are making decisions. We make decisions, and now decisions make us. To do that which they feel that they were born to do. A job is what you get paid for. Most people want to live the calling on their lives. A calling is what you are made for. You were made to do this kind of program. I was made for speaking and training speakers. And this is how I live my life. I teach people live your life the way that you want to leave your life.
That's powerful, Les. And suddenly, the words you said before keep on running in my mind that we are irreplaceable miracles. I love that word, that thing.
Yes.
Thank you for stating that. I will use that. Thank you. Uh, Les, why having people in our life that can see it for us is important.
It's very important because if you look at sporting events, teams win 80% more games at home than they do when they're on the road. It's very important to create a community of collaborative, achievement driven, supportive relationships with people who can see things that you can't see. There are certain things about ourselves that we cannot see. Psychologists call those scotomas,
Yeah.
like you smelled somebody's breath. It was offensive, and you didn't tell them because you didn't want to hurt their feelings, you know? And so we all have blind spots. But when you're in a relationship with a community of people who will hold you accountable for the things that you say that you want to do with your life, people who will challenge you, who will stretch you, people that you can learn from, then that helps you to begin to live life on a higher level of accomplishment because of the supportive environment where you find yourself and that you've created for yourself to give you a competitive advantage.
Les, many people believe that their identity is fixed and can't be changed. Can we change our identity anytime?
We can, at any given time, we can change our identity. For years, I told myself that I couldn't do what I'm doing now. I'm 77 now. I've been doing it for 52 years. I mean, for 30 years. No, wait, excuse me. I am a 30-year, fourth stage prostate cancer conqueror because of God's grace and mercy. I've been speaking for 52 years. And for 14 years, I told myself I could not do this. I couldn't see myself being able to share a stage with a Tony Robbins or Jim Rohn or other known motivational speakers. But when Mr. Washington, my high school teacher, said to me, young man, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. He interrupted the story that I believe about myself. How we live our lives is a result of the story we believe about ourselves, the things that we've had said to us. And as a result of that relationship, it expanded my identity of myself. I used to be called DT. I have a twin brother, the dumb twin. But because of what he said to me, that expanded my vision beyond being called the dumb twin and answering to that, but understanding and knowing that I can choose to be whoever I want to become. And I've got to be willing to work on myself. If you are not willing to work on yourself, no one can help you. But if you're willing to work on yourself, no one can stop you.
Yes, Les, absolutely. Les, how to become a master communicator?
It is very important, and I'm glad you asked that question, for you to align yourself with a coach who has an established reputation and speaking on the level that you like to speak on. It's a tool, the ability to speak, to communicate, presentation power, according to Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest men in the world. It gives you a competitive advantage to sell your ideas, your products, grow your organization, lead a movement. The ability to speak to people. Steve Jobs said the storyteller is the most powerful person in the world. And so it's something that we can all learn because all of us are born the same way, dumb, naked, and speechless. None of us come here talking. We learn, and we can always upgrade our ability to communicate.
Yes, Les. Les, I want to ask this a little bit deep question here, personal question. When something happens to us, why should we not deny it but defy it, as you say?
Well, when they diagnosed me with fourth stage cancer, it's it's very important to know that a diagnosis is not a verdict. I was very fortunate to have a doctor, an oncologist, Dr. Alfred Gosen. He said, I never tell my patients they're terminally ill. What I say is that my knowledge, my abilities, my skill set has terminated. I determine the diagnosis. You and God determines the prognosis. Now you all have to work that out. And so when a person is told they have a terminal illness, their immune system weakens by 40% because of the fear, because of the stress. You have cancer. Seven, I mean, that's the most feared words in seven different languages. And so having a defiant attitude that I'm going to live and willing to do the things that you need to do in order to be here and to expand and extend the time that you're on the planet, you have to be a defiant kind of person. Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you don't want will automatically take over.
Les, can you expand on that? Fighting, you always say life is a fight for territory, right? I just want to listen a little bit more about it.
Well, in order to have peace of mind, that thing's going to happen to us. Viktor Frankl, in his book called Man's Search for Meaning, he said life is full of unavoidable suffering. Things going to happen to you, and things going to happen to the people that you care about. It's called life. In just a second, things can change for you. I was in a hotel lobby talking to some friends, got up to go to the restroom, and I slipped and fell and bruised my ribs. And the the people at the hotel had mopped in that area. They had cleaned that area, but they didn't put a sign up that said slippery when wet. I didn't see it. And in that moment, I'm just getting past the pain. 3 months of intense pain. They said to me, listen, we can't put a cast on your rib cage. Well, you're going to have to do something called tramadol. I said, what is that? Is that an opiate? Yes, it's a painkiller. I said, I don't want any opiates. They said, well, it's not that addictive. I said, I don't want anything that's addictive. I said, then you have to bear it. And so I've been suffering, but I'm out of suffering now. And I'm so grateful. I'm very thankful.
Thanks, Les, for sharing that. Les, if you could only pass on one life lesson to your most loved ones, what would that be?
Live full and die empty. We all have the ability to live a greater life. But we live in a world where we're told what we can't do rather than what we can do. And so, in order to live a full life, you've got to become a risk taker. Viscott said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? Live full, become a risk taker. Life, as Helen Keller would say, it's a daring adventure or it's boring. Make your life a daring adventure.
There are so many insights in this talk. Les, thank you so much. um,
Yeah.
Les, what is the power of sharing unconditionally without holding back?
There's something about this thing called life. There's we've been told the greatest among you will be your servant. I believe help somebody and help yourself because what you give is what you get. And that love, hope, and inspiration, they're like perfumes. You can't sprinkle on others without getting a few drops on yourself.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Les. Les, how to get still?
You have to literally push yourself to tune the world out. Last night around 6:30 I turned my phones off and my iPad and it was challenging because I wanted to know what was going on. But I had to take control of myself and said, whatever's going on, if the world blows up, somebody will tell you, you'll know. And so you have to force yourself sometimes to unplug from life. I meditate twice a day for about 20 to 30 minutes. I'm working up to 30 minutes a day because I realize that being busy is not being productive. That some of my most productive moments is when I'm still, when I'm quiet, when I wake up at 3 o'clock or 3:30 in the morning and everything's quiet. That's my best thinking. And so taking the time to go into the garden of life and get still and listen to God's voice speak to you.
Les, many people might have asked you about your morning ritual, but I would love to ask you what is your night ritual? Is there anything like that?
Yes, I listen to music a lot and I listen to meditation music and I meditate and I write down the things that I want to get out of the day the next day. Most people wake up and they're just trying to get through the day. I encourage people create an agenda for the day that you're going to face tomorrow morning. If you don't have an agenda for your life, you're going to be a part of somebody else's agenda. And so when I first wake up, I say, thank you, Lord, for life this morning, waking me up in my right mind. And I thank you that I'm not in pain. I thank you that I'm healed 100% from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. And I thank you for the knowing that whatever I face today, together, you and I can handle it. And then I listen to some motivational messages. I read 30 to 40 pages of something inspiring. And then I take the time to get still.
So, Les, what is the book that you're reading presently?
I'm reading a book that is my book.
Oh,
And the reason I am is because I'm expanding it. I'm adopted, and I became a foster child first and then adopted. And I'm reading You've Got to Be Hungry, Discovering the Power Within. And the reason that I'm reading it is because I just met my birth family, and I'm adding that to the story. So it's called You Got to Be Hungry 2.0. I've met two brothers that I did not know that I had. I saw, here I am at 77, for the first time, a picture of my birth mother and father, and connected with my birth family. It's
oh,
something that I'm still processing. And so that addition is now in the book, and I'm looking at ways to incorporate it.
awesome, awesome. Les, how to respond when life throws major challenges at you, at us?
It's very important to stop, observe it, don't buy into it, and resolve within yourself, I can handle this. Because what we know is that life is lived forward, but we understand it looking back. The things that we experience that we think happen to us, but going forward in life, we realize that they happen for us, that we wouldn't be the people that we are or the person that we have become had we not had that kind of experience. Elsie Robinson said, things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only thing that really count are the things that happen in you. Shakespeare said, nothing is neither good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. So we have to decide to have unbreakable faith and unrelenting optimism that whatever life throws in my path, I will get through it. I would use it as a stepping stone.
Thank you, Les. Les, how can we move forward when we feel lost and start to doubt ourselves?
When you build a community of collaborative, achievement driven relationships, I encourage people, all of us have times when we are down on ourselves. All of us have had the experience of life chewing us up and spitting us out. And I teach, ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And ask for help and don't stop until you get it. A lot of people, because of ego, won't ask for help. Ego to me means edging God out. Ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. Whatever you're dealing with, it has not come to stay, it has come to pass.
Les, you are a beautiful man. That's I need to say. You are really awesome.
Thank, thank you so much. You take one to know one.
So, Les, a friend of mine, she wanted you to answer this. Like it's their situation now. We never intend to harm anyone and always want to help others. Then why bad things happen to us? Why bad things happen to good people? Why we should be good if bad things happen despite being good?
I think that we choose to be good because that's who we are. And people who choose to be bad is because of that's who they have decided this is how I want to live my life. I I don't decide that I'm going to be polite and respectful of people because they're polite and respectful to me. No. I've had people be rude and belligerent and prejudiced and discriminated against me. And I have decided I'm not going to be that kind of person. I'm going to be fair with people. I believe my mother taught me that God is love. And he who dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in them. To live my life from a place of love, and have a mindset of forgiveness. And forgiving is not forgetting. Forgiving is remembering without anger, and
Oh,
not
wow.
to be that kind of person.
Wow, that's so insightful. Les, thank you. Thank you. Les, how to program our mind positively?
We program our minds by the things we listen to. I'm encouraging everybody who's listening to this right now to email me and mention that they heard me on your show to lesbrown77.com, lesbrown77.com. And I'm going to send them some motivational material. What you listen to, you turn into. My message and my mantra is you have something special. You have greatness in you. And as they listen to these words spoken to them, audiences of all kinds, from all walks of life that I'm standing before, they are going to begin to get a larger vision of themselves. It will ignite the hunger in them to do more, to have more, and to achieve more. So just email me at lesbrown77@gmail.com. Mention that they heard me on your program. And as a result of that benefit, I will send them some motivational material.
That's awesome, Les. I bet you will get so many emails. Les, would you like to issue a 7-day challenge to our subscribers?
You know, I have not done a challenge. So I've got to learn how to do the challenge first, and I'll circle back with you, okay?
Okay.
I'm planning on doing a challenge on storytelling. So I'll circle back with you to talk to you about that.
That's awesome. Um, Les, last question. What is the power of having a coach?
A coach has the ability to see things that you cannot see. I have people who tell me I practice standing in front of the mirror speaking. Well, you have untrained eyes looking back at you. I had a trainer and I was working with him. I got in good shape and I said, I don't need this anymore. I know the routines. And so I let him go and said, I can do this myself. The first day in the gym, I injured myself. I rehired him because I didn't know what I didn't know. The reason that most people fail is because they don't know what they don't know and they think they know. A coach who's experienced, who's seasoned, who has an established reputation for getting results out of people that they couldn't get out of themselves is essential for people who are serious about living their dreams rather than a life of mediocrity.
Absolutely, Les. Les, thank you so much for coming to the show and helping us to become enlightened.
Well, I want to just thank you so much, Belandi, because you were born for such a time as this. You were born and preserved to do this kind of work. This is the greater work. God bless you.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Yes, sir.